Yeah. Plug in. That plugs in all right, is it? I'm just gonna... We are live, Jane. We are live. Live. So good morning, everybody. You'll notice just a voice at the moment. Our InVision camera decides it doesn't want to work. So I'm going to leave you with Jane for a moment while I try and sort this out, who's going to take you through our beautiful half-metre heavens for tomorrow. We have two cameras, but not all the cameras. We don't have all the cameras.
We can do it. You don't need to see our faces today.
No! I mean, gosh, if I'd have known, I wouldn't have bothered with the makeup.
Yes, that would have saved a lot of time this morning, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it?
So good morning, everybody. This is unusual, isn't it? A different way of looking at things. We've got some beautiful half-metre heavens today. Oh, gosh, we've had such fun this morning sorting out colours and cutting and chopping. So the first one is a lovely bit of Cafe wisteria. Look at this. This is gorgeous. Look at the colours in there. And we've put that with a bit of amethyst, I think. Yes, amethyst. Look at that. It really picks up those lovely colours in there. Can you see that? Should we move it across slightly? There we go. That's beautiful, isn't it? A nice bit of amethyst there. Picks up the lovely purples in there and all that lovely blue. So that's a nice piece of Cafe there.
This is how our mornings go, isn't it? When it's a half-metre heaven day.
Yes.
We sit there and we go, does this work with this? What about this and this and this? And oh, try amethyst.
And it just boomed. We've got this beautiful, this is a bit of Lewis and Irene, the bees from the Queen Bee collection. Look at that on this lovely cream colour, and we've put that with a nice bit of gold, which really pulls out the bees in there. It's a nice soft creamy sort of mushroom colour background with the bees all over it, and some little pretty daisies in there with some gold.
Sorry, Jane, how do we say that?
Gold!
Thank you.
We were laughing about that this morning, saying, you know, if you want to work here, you need to know how to say gold in the manner of Spandau Ballet.
Oh, did you see Gemma's excitement yesterday when it came on the radio?
Yes.
I got dragged in. Natasha, you've got to listen to this.
So this is the bees again, and this is with a bit of the natural seeded cotton, which is a lovely cream colour. It's almost like calico. It's got a little bit of natural texture in there, and that really works well with this lovely, almost lavendery background. It's really soft, almost, I would say, probably if you were doing it on a Dulux chart, they'd probably call it a mushroom colour. And again, it's got that lovely little daisy in there with the bees. Beautiful fabric. It's a bit of Lewis and Irene there with natural seeded cotton. A little bit more of the Queen Bee. This is the hive and flowers on with the bees in. Look at that, that's beautiful fabric. And we've put that with, and we were saying this should be called honey because it's actually called tan, but it's a lovely warm colour, and it picks out these lovely golds and of the beehives and the crown in there, which is really pretty.
I am struggling to say, oh, beehive.
Oh, beehives. Yes.
It's my go-to, sorry everyone.
Works really well. So that's another bit. We've got the Lewis and Irene again with the blue this time, with the flowers. This is the Lewis and Irene bee floral on navy. And we've popped that with a bit of light lilac.
It's pretty. There is just a tiny bit of lilac in there, isn't there?
Lilac there in these little daisy type flowers, and the pink, and obviously the blues, which are lilac is a blue toned purple. So that really works beautifully with that. That's really lovely. So the next one, look at this. Oh, we've got a bit of Lisa here. The butterflies on black. Now, we've said before, these are to scale, these butterflies. So
These real?
They're real size. And we've put that with a bit of orange, which just pulls out that limey green and mixes in with the oranges that are there beautifully. Isn't that gorgeous? On that lovely black background. Really zingy, these colours in here. They're really vibrant, absolutely stunning with the gold metallic around the butterflies. Beautiful. Now then, this is a new one for us. This is a batik. Look at this. This is beautiful. You just need to stroke that just for a little bit. Look at it on its own. Look at the colours in there. Absolutely gorgeous.
Now
And
there was some debate over what colour to put with this.
yes.
I pulled out a purple. That was my initial thing, and Inga said green she wanted, and then you pulled out brown, and we all went, oh yeah, because it pulled out colours we hadn't even thought
isn't
of.
it? Is it chocolate?
Yeah.
Yes, it's chocolate. And that just pulls everything together, I think. It's just really, it's gorgeous colours in this batik. Beautiful purples and pinks. Are you back now?
I'm back. Thank you.
I'll leave it back in the hands of the expert now. It
Well,
doesn't just go, oh, look at this lovely fabric.
we've got our good mornings to say. We've got good morning, Alison. She's morning, Jane and Natasha. We'll have to watch without listening this morning. Hubby is sawing wood outside, and I can't hear a thing.
Oh my gosh.
Gotta love a wood chopper.
Yes.
How much wood does
Would
a
a
wood chopper chop?
If a chopper would chop wood.
If a wood chopper would chop.
Chop, chop. Oh, you're
If a wood
back.
chopper
Hello.
would chop wood. Yeah. I think the kittens had chewed the cable. I'm not going to lie. I think it was a kitten-related incident.
We were saying that, weren't we? Because it was working fine yesterday.
It was, and nothing had changed. So good morning, Alison. Good morning, Heather. Good morning, Colette. Morning, ladies. Rising to the challenge with a plum. There you go, Jane. That's you. Morning, Yvonne. Morning, Margaret. Morning, Rona. From a sunny Aberdeenshire. Fabulous. Morning, Donna. Morning, Barbara. We'll have to watch later as my granddaughters are here for a few days. Fabulous. Good morning, Elizabeth. How clever is Natasha getting piecing, Jane?
Yes,
well, you know,
absolutely brilliant. I won't need a job soon.
I can't be around Jane and not learn. That's the thing. Loving the HMHs, said Jane. Do you know what? The other thing that a lot of you are loving is the HMH Plus.
Yes. There's
Now
some
these
nice
are
ones today.
Yeah, they're just slightly different. It just means that instead of a plain, it's next thing up. So it might be that there's a bit of sparkle, it might be that it's a texture, it might be that it's a motor. There's all sorts across the board, and you have been loving those. Good morning, everybody. Sun is shining. Fabric, what could be better, says Jackie. And Joanna says, good morning. And Steph, good morning. And Karen, hi. Is this the new block of the month today? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, it will be. Any second. When I get through the half meet heavens, it absolutely will be. Now, we've got cows. Is it castles and cattle or castles and cows?
Castles and cattle, I think.
Something like that.
It's beautiful.
I know. We've put it with paprika.
Makes a little cows pop.
Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it? So that is from Lewis and Irene. And again, these are just, these are the bits that we have left over from the brand new collections. I can't believe we're saying that already. I'm really sorry. I've got a bit of a hay fever, but it's snuffly this morning. And then, so with this one, there was some talk, wasn't there, Jane, as to which to put it with?
Yeah.
And actually, we went with a shade deeper, which I think makes it really smart.
It's really smart, classic look, isn't it?
Let's face it, we're still doing Father's Day.
Yeah.
There's still Father's Day to make for, so we've still got that situation there. No. You know how I said we will make everybody say gold? Gold! This is with gold. This is the new Tula Pink range, and it's 6 p.m. somewhere. And we've picked out the soaked golden batik there to go with the rabbit. Or is it the hare? No, it's the rabbit.
March hair.
He doesn't look very mad.
No.
But there's his hat anyway. I love that one. And grey and gold. Gold is perfect.
It's beautiful.
We were saying this morning, if we got someone to come and interview for a job here, one of the questions would have to be, how do you say gold? This is a Lewis and Irene panel. I've been asked to get this back in, gosh, so many times. And then when Lewis and Irene came to show us their wares, I nipped in the back of the van, rummaged around, bingo, came up with this. So this is a panel. This is 18 inches. It's an 18-inch panel with your half metre there. Okay, so that's, and then when they're gone, they're gone. We made little placemats with these first time round.
They're really cute, aren't
And
they?
the teapots has sat on it for over a year.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And then, again, another Tula here. So this is, again, from the brand new Tula, already in half metre heavens, would you believe? There we go. With your purple there. think that was amethyst.
Amethyst again. It's been a winner today.
It has been a winner. Winner. We'll have a bit of amethyst. Only 7 of those. Now, I think we're only going to have like 2 or 3 of these. This is your beehive with lavender. But again, this is just the last of the bolt. It's what we've got left on the bolt. But that beautiful queen bee. This was one of my favourites out of that
It's so
collection.
pretty. It's such a soft colourway, that one. It's really
And,
nice.
you know, you've got your lavender colour there. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, they are your normal half-metre heavens there. Okay. Your HMH plus is here. So, this was an accident. Jane left a bolt of green sparkle fabric. You see the sparkle on that? And it just happened to be next to the Philip Jacobs. I was like, yes.
Yes, definitely.
Because there are so many different greens in these feathers.
It's just a beautiful collection, that one. The colourway on that one is lovely.
Love, love, love this one.
Love it.
Have to
Really
say,
rich.
do really love that. So if you fancy getting yourself a bit of sparkly feather action, go for it. Now, sticking with the green sparkle, the next happy accident was this. Now, this is one of your Lisa Chandlers. But just see what it does with these guys here, because there's so much different green in there. Just pulls it through.
Yeah.
Suddenly, this looks a little bit Christmassy.
Yeah, we said that, didn't we? We were like, oh, that looks a bit Christmassy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The gold metallic on the fabric, and then a little bit of sparkle in the green.
And actually, Lisa does use some of these for Christmas fabrics.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe pop it in your stash. Now, this one, oh gosh, we've only got like 2 or 3 of these as well. We've put this with a metallic spot, again from Lewis and Irene, and then that's that gone. That's all we've got left of that one. Same with this. Well, we've got 2 of this, and then that's gone. But this is gone. Can you see? I'm going to put this on a close-up, you know, Jane.
That's lovely with that
It's beautiful, isn't it?
texture.
We have a little bit of the textured metallic from Lewis and Irene left. That silver. There you go. Can you see it just sparkling? It's a really different blender, and I absolutely love it. So I've got 2 of those, and that's that. That'll be that gone. Gone. Now with this one, we put this with the grey. I'm going to come in close on this one as well. Look at that.
I love that one. That was my favourite.
Is
The
it?
collection. I love the softness of it and the subtle.
The grey and the mauve, I just adore.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to leave that there for a close-up because Tula Pink again with Moda this time. And isn't that just perfect? Because with your Moda Grunge, it's got all those different colours that you'll actually find.
There's a bit of sort of a bluey
there.
tone in there as well, isn't there?
The
Which picks up-
grunges
it
are
just work so well.
just fantastic for that. And then this one, we sold out of this and I found 3 more units of it. So we've put that one back on. That was
really
Apple
pretty.
Blossom, wasn't
I
it?
love that really. It's a really pretty print.
That's an Art Gallery fabric one, but it just flew. And then look, so with this one,
Dragonflies. That's so lovely.
but it's bringing out all of these colours into there. And yet you've got, suddenly you notice this darker, almost purple, which pulls out the dragonflies. I think that's Studio E, that fabric.
It's lovely. It's really pretty.
Now. With this one, yeah, you can see why, can't you? We don't need to say. That's Cafe Dream in Aqua. And this grunge has got all the colours in it. It's got the purples, it's got the different pinks, it's got everything. Just perfect. And we've got a few of those, and then we've only got 5 of these. I'm going to do this one actually from above, you know, Jane, because
Yes, it's amazing how the colours change, isn't it, with that one? It was
it's Lotus.
the magic of colour. It's amazing.
This is why we love colour, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's your lotus flower.
Which is quite a dark, dusky colours,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
It's lovely, but it's a subtle. For Cafe, it's a subtle print.
Until you pop that through it, and suddenly, boom, 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 boom.
We're like,
That's your
"Oh,
Moda. That's what it
that's
does.
amazing."
That is what it
Yeah.
does. So, and we've got 5, and then that was the last of that Moda, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't fold this morning. Just happening to my folding abilities. Yep, 5 of those. Inga's lovely, neat writing. We've got 5 of these guys. Ah, now, you see, fabulous deer.
Yeah.
Wandering around, looking all wonderful everywhere.
Again, quite what you would say was quite a dark print, wouldn't you? You'd look at that and you'd say, yeah, that's what I would put that in my dark colours.
And then we pop a texture through it, and suddenly these little chaps and the horns and everything just lifts and brightens. This is a textured one by John Loudon, and I'm just going to hold them next to each. I'm so sorry for sniffing. I'll go and sort that out in a minute.
That's lovely.
Isn't it lovely? It just picks it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's a lovely textured like finish on there. It's got like a weave. It's printed, but it gives a nice texture.
I think we can all agree that that's fabulous.
Yeah, again, it just pulls all that peachiness out, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? And then the last one to tempt you with is Elisa Chandler with a red texture. Bit special, isn't it?
It's really nice, really lovely.
Just a bit special. So that's what we've got for you today. And without further ado, well, I'd say without further ado, but I need to actually get the right camera angle. I'm going to hand over to Jane because she has got some fabulous different bundles. And it just leaves the last thing for me to say is that if you buy, the best way to describe it, Jane, is you can go with this new block of the month. You don't have to sign up for it. The reason being we have enough fabric.
Yeah.
We've chosen fabrics that we can easily source. That was the only thing that held us back last time, wasn't it?
Yes.
Was that without our control, out of our control, completely out of our control.
Maybe because initially it was me going to be bringing it to air, wasn't it, as a sort of
before you joined the team, absolutely, yeah.
And I thought I'd underestimated how many people would sign up for it, to be honest.
So then when we tried to get more fabric, obviously COVID had hit and every blue colour was just out. So this time we've been really aware that a lot of you missed out last time. We don't want that to happen again. We have got, how many different colourways? Five different colourways.
Yeah.
5 different colourways for you to choose from. And you can either buy each month as you go. That's completely fine. Or if you want to buy the complete kit that has everything that you need apart from your backing and your wadding, because wadding's a really personal choice. Does this have binding in as well?
Yeah, the binding is included in that.
Right, so just the backing and the wadding that you need to then source will help you with that. When we get an idea of numbers, we'll help you with that. And if you do buy the complete sets today, whilst stock lasts, this is really important to say, whilst stock lasts, we will pop in a free pair of scissors. It might be the curved embroidery.
Ooh.
It might be one of my favourites, the blunt tip pocket.
They're handy ones to have.
They're really handy. I have a couple of pairs, one for myself and one to trim Maud's ladybeard. Well, they're really good for that because they're super sharp, but they're not sharp.
Yeah, no points on them, they might stick in.
And apparently we're adding in the micro-tipped embroidery scissor. So
Lovely.
It'll be one of those 3, but this is only whilst stocks last because can't get any more of those. They are then gone. So I'm going to hand over to Jane. Over to you.
Thank you very much.
Hang on. Saying that might help if I take this.
Yes.
Else there'll be no producing the show. Take it away, Jane.
Yay. Hello again. We're back. Oh, I went a little bit hot under the collar then. She was just like, quick, you do the half-metre heavens. I'm going to have to look at this camera. And I was like, oh my God.
What? What now?
So, yeah, as Natasha says, we've got 5 beautiful colourways. We've got the luxury this time of being able to bring these to you. You can, there's a choice of colours. I think we've got a nice spectrum of colours here. The quilt itself is smaller than the one that we did last time. It's 50 by 50. That doesn't mean that you can't add borders to it. You couldn't make 2 each of each block and make it bigger. There's enough variety in here for you to add to it if you wanted to. It's completely to you. But
What level am I looking at?
Confident beginner.
Okay.
I think, you know, if you've made a quilt before and if you've been with us from, you know, when we did the sampler block, when we did the very first one that we started on SQ, then, you know, you'll have your techniques under your belt, you'll feel confident, and we can move on to a few more. There's a few little different ones in here, a little bit more smaller pieces, so we're a bit more careful with seam matching and stuff like that. So yeah, and we've brought you the migrating geese for the border, which looks really complicated but is really good fun, and once you get into the rhythm of it, you can soon get those borders made. So we've got the red colourway, and as Natasha said, we're doing the full kit. So if you take the full kit, you've got enough fabric to make this quilt. If you do it block by month, block by block each month.
No, block by month makes,
by month,
yeah. Block of the month, yes. If you do it month by month,
you
with
will
the blocks.
have a bit more fabric purely because there's only a certain amount, you know, there's our smallest size, you know.
Yeah, that we that we can cut.
We've got fat eighths is the smallest size that we're prepared to mess around with. So you will have fabric left over. So you will actually get more fabric if you do it block by month. Block by month? That doesn't sound right.
Month by month.
Month by month. You know what I mean.
What that allows for is if you make a mistake,
Yeah.
or if you want to make a cushion, if you've got a block that's your absolute favourite. I can see a couple already that I'm like, cushion like that would be amazing.
This is it.
And
This is, yeah, it's one of the beauties of us not doing it by subscription. There might be a block that you think, oh yeah, I want to make that one.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered about making the quilt.
Yeah.
So that sort of gives you another option to this as well.
Well, what this will then work really beautifully with, and this isn't an accident that yesterday I did the orphan blocks,
Yeah.
where you learn how to make one into a bag and then one into a cushion with those instructions.
Yes.
Because you might be a beginner, and I know that we've got beginners all the time, in which case, if you see a
Always.
block that you love, and this is going to be the same when I start the applique block of the month with the
Yes.
Baltimore Oriental, you know, there might be a block that absolutely takes your imagination and you just have to have it. And then what do you do with it? Well, make it into a bag, make it into a cushion.
Yeah.
We'll go into various levels of difficulty with those as we go. But to start off with, I've done super simple. They are available on the website. So if you are just dipping your toe and you just want to try and see what this is like, then just get the one block. Weirdly, if money is an issue, it works out to be cheaper to buy it in one lump
Yes.
and get your free scissors.
Yeah.
So it's whatever works for you. You know
we're
what's
all
going on
different,
for
aren't
you.
we? We know how we work and we
Absolutely.
know what we want to do, and some of us might just want to dip in and out and just try the odd block, and you might want to try each block in a different colourway. It's up to you. You might want to make this quilt in different colours.
And the other thing is we've tried to do it because we know that a lot of you have in the past subscribed twice because you've got children that you've
Yes.
made the quilt for.
Want to
So
make
you've
it for
wanted
more
to
than
do
one.
same but different.
Yeah.
And that's completely fine too.
Yeah.
So we've tried to cover all bases. Susan says, oh, I have a big problem. Purple, teal or zesty?
Yeah. It's a hard one. This is the red colour option. So we've got ivory as the background. Then we've got
hang on.
light.
You haven't got, you've got a sewing machine that I'm showing you.
sewing
There you
machine,
go.
Ivory as the background. Light pink as the light pale. We've gone very descriptive here. We've got light pale. No, we've got, light pale, pale light even, maybe. I can't remember now. Medium pale and dark pale. And then we've got dark, and then we've got dark. It's very confusing. But that's the pale one, which if you look on my quilt, now, see, I've made my quilt in a different fabric, which makes it difficult to, but this red one is as close to the colours that are in there, and the border around the migrating geese is done in that light pale. We've then got so there's a metre of the ivory, 2 metres of the light colour, and then we've got a ½ metre of each of these, which is blush, and then we've got a bit of sparkle in there. That's rose. sparkle
Oh,
blender.
nice. Yeah, so there will be a bit of sparkle in there,
Yeah,
won't
each of
there?
these have got a little bit of sparkle in them. And then we've got the another blender fabric, which is fuchsia, which is lovely and soft, and has got a little bit of a subtle sort of like almost like a sponge effect. So it's not a solid, just gives a bit of texture there. And then you've got the Mystic Vine, which is a pretty fabric, and this is in salmon. Now this is the colour, which is the medium light. And
Do you
if
want
I
to show
can
it
go
on the
back on
quilt?
the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
quilt. So the borders, behind the borders here is the light pale, and it's in here, and around the star shape in the middle. Fabric C is the medium pale, if you like. So although it's quite a dominant fabric, it's not too heavy. And I'll explain in a minute, because with the Zesty, I think I'm quite excited to see how this one works out, because I've chosen that as the one of the fabrics of that colour, and so it will bring your eye into the middle. So that's that colour there. As I say, I've tried to match this one as closely to that quilt as I can. And then we've got this lovely texture fabric in cardinal, and that's the really deep red. That's the dark. So those are the colourways for the red bundle. And as I say, this is block 1, so you've got a ½ metre of your background, and then everything you need, fat quarters and fat eighths of all the other colours, because we're doing the corner block today, which is this one here. So that's got all of the fabric colours in it. So block 1's got all of those in.
So that's if you're just buying the one
The
block.
block, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got all your colours in your kit, but then today block 1 will have all of the colours in as well, but in fat quarters and fat eighths, and a ½ metre of the background. And as I say, you will have, in some of it, you will have a bit left over. The ½ metre of the background fabric A, is enough. There isn't very much left over of that.
Right.
But these ones, you probably will have some. So this is the Zesty.
But again, this is the other thing, isn't it? If you do go for the full shebang,
Yes.
and you do decide that you need a bit more, we can supply it.
Yes,
this time we
Yeah.
can supply
if
it.
If you miscut, or you think, well, actually, I think I might make a whole quilt with just this block.
Yes,
We can
go for it.
get more for you, so that's good. So the Zesty one, ivory again as the background, and then this lovely, again, it's the sparkly fabric is what we're calling fabric B, and that's in a lovely cream colour. And then I thought, now I've done this the other way around. I've gone with, I think it's the tangerine, or no, it's the flutter actually, that I was thinking fabric C, the flutter. I've gone with the yellow. I did toy with the idea of the green, but I wasn't sure whether that was too heavy, and I think the lemon will take it into the middle. And then you've got that lovely green, the texture. This is called Flutter, and it's called Flutter. It's got a tiny little butterfly in there. It's really pretty fabric. And then we've got the texture in like I think it's called butterscotch. I thought it might have been gold, but it's
Gold!
It's butterscotch. And then we've got this lovely, again, this printed texture, which is like a sponged effect, and that's in the tangerine. And then paprika is the dark for the binding and the small bits.
That really is
in there.
zesty, isn't it?
It is. I think it's quite mouth-watering, that one.
Do you have a favourite out of these, Jane?
No, I want to make them all.
Because that one goes with your top.
It does.
Just
And I'm
saying, if subliminally you'd gone for one,
yeah.
Today,
I
like
would
that
be
one.
Zesty, yeah. And that's the block, as we say, is fat quarters and ½ metre pieces.
Oh yeah, look at that,
Beautiful. And then we've got the blue, which
And
is
the other
nice
thing to just, sorry Jane to
No,
interrupt,
go
the other thing just to point out is that we've tried to do this without expensive designer fabrics as well.
Yes.
We've tried to do this so that it is accessible for everyone.
Yes. Yeah. And also, quite often with designer fabrics, they're a limited amount, aren't they? They do a batch and then that's it. It's gone. Even the bumbleberries, Lewis and Irene, I think they only do about 4 core colours, and then the rest are just to go with the collection. So, you know, quite often if you don't get your orders in like straight away when they come out, you can't reorder it. So these ones we know we're able to reorder, and, you know, unless something happens in the meantime, we can get them ad infinitum, really.
You know how you do, we're just really cautious now. It's like never say never.
Never say never.
You know, we've dealt with all sorts of starting Natasha rates.
The whole way of buying fabric and everything has changed over the last 12 months. And supply is just, well, yeah. So with the blue, I've gone for white as the background colour, and then the lovely powder blue for the fabric B, which is the one that goes around the edge of the border. We've got the sparkle, which I'm thinking is fabric C. And again, it's lovely, soft blue. I think it's called denim. Yeah, denim. And again, it brings all those blues in. We've got another bit of sparkle, which is royal, I think.
Ooh.
Yes, royal. And then we've got the... what have I done here? Oh, I got it. I can't read my own writing. Oh my goodness. We've got this one, which is royal as well, and that's the printed. No, it's called denim. Shut up, Jane. That's denim. That's royal. That's denim. And then we've got this textured one, which is marine, and then the darker one is another piece of flutter, which is again in royal. So that's the one I'm thinking will do the binding and all the other things. To an extent, you can change it around if you prefer. You know, you might, within quantities, you can change it around a little bit.
Yeah. And again, you can always buy extra if you decide to change it around.
Now,
Jane, quick question.
Yes.
Very quick question. Karen says, I've just found them on the website. If I buy the fabric block by block, am I right in saying that I purchase the pattern separately? We always have the pattern separately.
And I'm not sure that the full compendium will come out until we've done all the blocks. So even if you're buying all your fabric, you're still going to be doing it block by block. Month by month.
Now, and the other thing to point out,
what I will say, if you're buying all your fabric all in one go and you're doing it block by month, just be really careful with your fabrics when you're cutting it, and make sure that you keep any leftover bits.
Yeah, you know how John always comes with these little zippy pouches? Yeah. That's really sensible to have. Or just have a box for your block of the month
with
fabric.
Your block of your month, and keep it labelled so you know which one's which.
Jane, the other thing is, apparently I didn't change, Margaret said I didn't change the cameras over quick enough. Which block are we doing today?
It's the corner one. This one here.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry.
This one here. All the blocks are 12-inch finished, which means they'll be 12.5-ish when you've finished putting them together. Don't trim them down at this stage. Just leave them as they are. Don't worry if some are a little bit bigger than others or a little bit, you know, just... It'll all come together when you put it together.
It's all good. Cass is loving the quilt in shouty, shouty capitals.
Oh,
loving.
Thank you, Cass. That's nice. This is our teal colour. Now, I'm going to demonstrate in this one because I think Natasha quite likes this and can see it in her lounge. Funnily enough. So, again, we've gone with the white background. We've got this lovely, now I'm really loving this colour. This is a sparkle. It's called Fog. It's like a grey colour, but a soft grey.
I love that.
And again,
one.
It's got that lovely bit of sparkle in it. I love this sparkle blender. The sparkle in it is fixed, so it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't come off. It comes off a little bit on your hands, but not like I've worked with some fabric where you end up with more sparkle on you than you do on the fabric. So this is a lovely one to work with. But it's a very subtle sparkle as well. It's quite interspersed,
it's not blinging in your face.
But it just catches the light and is really pretty. And then we've got the Mystic Vine in Aqua, I think. Yes, Mystic Vine in Aqua. And then we've got the Sparkle Blender in Turquoise, the Texture in Peacock, and the Sparkle Blender in Teal. There's quite a lot of sparkle in this teal one.
There is quite a lot of sparkle. Let me show you.
And Texture in Hawaiian, which I thought would be nice in there as the border.
I think because it's that one feels quite oceanic to me.
Yes.
And I love that you've got
sparkly.
But then in the blue one, there's quite a lot of sparkle in there
Yes.
too, which makes me think of twinkly night skies.
Yeah, it's all beautiful. So that's the bundle there, the fat quarter bundle, the block bundle we'll call it, because it's not all fat quarters, some of it's just fat eighths. And then we've got purple, because who doesn't love a little bit of purple? It's gorgeous, this is. And again, we've gone with background of white. We've got the Mystic Vine in lilac, and that's lovely and soft. We've got our own solids in lavender. That's the one I'm thinking is Fabric C. And then we've got Flutter in lilac. We've got the Sparkle Blender in orchid. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Ooh. And then we've got this lovely blender in purple, just called purple, that one. But look at that, it's got I'm loving this like sponged effect. And then I've gone with Mystic Vine wine, it's called. I was calling it magenta, but it's wine. And I just think that will pull it, because it's the dark colour. So on the main quilt, this is the colour here that I'm thinking would be the wine. And I'm just thinking that in your quilt, we'll just pop it and then you would use it as your binding and that would bring it all together.
Nice, nice,
So
nice.
that's the purple option.
Margaret wants to know, is the sparkle in fog available in the shop? Not separately, doesn't mean to say it can't be if you need some, or if you just send a message to info@natashamakes.com, then we can sort that out for you.
We can certainly sort
Let
that
us know
out.
how much you need.
So there are your colourways, your options. You might want to buy more than one. As I say, you might want to do the quilt as you're going along. You might think, actually, I might like to do different blocks in different colourways, just to give you an idea of which, you know, how the fabric works, and then you might decide. Some of the blocks you might think, actually, I'd like to make a whole quilt in this block. And you can do that, you know, there's nothing to stop you making 12 blocks and making it 3x4 and you've got a full quilt. So
They just look so nice, don't they, laid out?
They're lovely.
At the front of the desk. It's just,
Yeah.
oh, which one to
Really
choose from,
pretty.
which one to choose from.
Really pretty. There's a lovely choice there, and I think apart from maybe doing like creams and beiges and browns, I think we've coloured the full spectrum really. I don't see our ladies as being like browny beigey ladies. I don't know why.
I think because we sell so much Cafe.
Yeah, and
I think that's why in our heads we're like,
we're not browny beigey ladies, so therefore we think our customers are like us.
Go. Neither are you. Neither are you.
Yeah.
Can you just let me know, just put a little message if you would rather have the complete compendium available now. Is it written up, Jane?
It is written up. I mean, it's not together, but Josh will probably work his magic, and I think there's some images missing from block 7, but they're just a case of putting them into the folder.
So it's something that because we tend to do it month by month.
Yes.
To make it digestible so that it's not overwhelming, because the whole ethos of the block of the month was to do something that you'd never tried before.
Yes.
So we didn't want you getting overwhelmed. But there are those people that are saying, yeah, but if we've bought the whole kit,
Yes, they want
you
to
know,
get on with it.
we want the whole.
Well, I suppose, yeah. I mean, yeah, you could do it that way.
Huh?
Pattern testing needs to take place before we can release the complete compendium.
Oh, the pattern testing needs to.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to say it's not all been proofread and pattern tested.
At the
So
end of the quilt, but it will be.
yeah, I mean the only other thing is that if it's out there, and then as we pattern test, if we find any mistakes, then we would just email it to you. It's not ideal, but it just depends what people want. That's not my preferred way. It's not my preferred way, but
No.
if there are lots of you that want it now, then that would be the only way we could release it now for you.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
right,
just
yeah.
go in manageable
It hasn't,
chunks.
yes, it hasn't been
month by
completely
month.
pattern tested.
I think it's safer.
But we are
People
getting
to spoil
better.
we want people to spoil their fabric.
No, and if you'd miscut, as I say, with the full kit.
This is all the behind the scenes stuff, isn't it? That possibly you don't realise has to happen. He can stay in, Gemma, that's fine.
I know, but I've got visions of corner.
There was a small Mortimer coming to help.
Yeah, we were having...
Who may or
additional-
may not be responsible for the slight lack of camera at the start of the show.
Well, yeah, he was in here stalking HP.
Years on.
He does have his naughty ears on as he was swinging off the cables earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't like to cast aspersions,
No.
but, you know.
He was stalking HP earlier.
Yeah.
I will well, no, I'm not tattling, but I am. So this is the block and this is the teal option that we're doing.
How many blocks are there is the next question.
There's 4 of this one.
No, in total.
Oh, in total there are 7.
Mm-hmm.
She says, counting quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7. 7 with the border.
Right.
We will do the 7 blocks. Well, we will do the 6 blocks. We'll do the border.
As
It's
a
not really a
seventh,
block,
yeah.
but it's the 7th block. It's a technique. And then the 8th month, we will put it all together. And I think we might sort of work a bit more on quilt as you go
Nice.
and how we can do that in that process, because that's quite a nice one to work with quilt as you go.
So 7 blocks.
Yeah, I think. So this is the corner block, and we're making 4 of these. As I said, it's
Oh,
got
nice.
all of the fabrics in, and it's 4 patch units, half square triangles, and smaller half square triangles made into a pinwheel.
Now, Gemma's been pattern testing this with us, hasn't
Yes.
she? And she was so excited because, well, she's doing it for many reasons. She's not long started quilting.
No.
She's really excited to try it out. She wants it for her sitting room. And also, because she's not long been quilting, if all the instructions make sense to her and she can do it, and this is no detriment to Gemma, she's very talented, I've got no doubt she can do all of it.
She underestimates herself.
But she's
yes,
not confident.
This is a confidence builder for Gemma. She was absolutely thrilled to bits when she came in yesterday with her finished corner blocks. She's making the quilt alongside. I've done all the patterns. I've put all the images in. Josh is putting them into our format. He's giving them to Gemma to then proofread and make the block. So she's a few blocks in front, which is why she was just saying, well, we can't really do the compendium because I haven't finished testing it. Because we had a few little glitches with measurements and things in the previous block, and I hadn't had that proofread or pattern tested. So we're being, more professional this time, and getting it pattern tested and proofread. And
The thing
as
is,
we say, because Gemma's a beginner,
Yeah.
in her, she's just starting. It's going to be good for me to have it from a beginner's point of view, saying, well, what exactly do you mean by that?
yeah.
And some things that I've thought have been blatantly obvious. Gemma said it to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, actually, this is what I mean, not how
So
you've read it.
each
so it's
time
good.
we learn and we try and bring it better.
Yeah.
And
that's all you can
that's
do.
all we can do, because it wasn't that the last one wasn't proofread, it's that you did the proofreading and you read
knew what
you
I meant.
Yeah. And actually Lisa's asked you now to
Yeah, she
proofread
said-
hers, because they have I think any quilter has that problem. If you've written it, you read what you think you've written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you know what you
Yeah,
mean.
absolutely.
Yeah. this
Now
is the
Joanna
big
asked
thing.
a very good question. She said, how will we know which fabric to use for which part?
That's a good question. Now, I could label it. When we did the block of the month last
Came
time,
in
they all
little
came in
bags.
little bags.
Yes.
Um,
We will think of a way to let you know, Joanna.
I think we could maybe do a little printed chart that we put in with the fabric.
Okay.
I think that might work, rather than sticking labels on that might, because we all know that some of us like to do it, have it each month, and then we'll do it all in one go. And so the labels might cause discoloration of the fabric. So I think maybe we'll do a little chart that we then
Perfect.
put in with the fabric.
Perfect.
I think will work best. Yeah, I think that's
We'll
one
find a
we-
way. We're not
we'll-
going to
we'll
leave you
work-
blind,
no,
Joanna.
we won't. We won't.
Especially with this number of colourways,
Yeah.
we will do that. No problem at all.
So we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is the let's do the 4 patches first, I think. And we'll do the half square triangles next. 4 patches. You could cut individual, the 2.5 inch squares made into 4 inch 4.5 inch units, which then become 4-inch units because it's a 9-patch blocks, and that's how it makes your 12-inch unit finished. When I say 12-inch and 4-inch, that's finished size. Obviously you've got your seam allowance on there. So these are 4-inch units, 4-patch unit. Traditionally you'd cut individual squares and sew them together, but we're going to do the strip method. I just wanted to show you actually how much fabric you'd have left over from the block kit. I've used one of the block kits this morning, and there's quite a bit, as you can see, there's not much white left over.
So put that to one side.
Yeah.
Because you're going to...
Well, that's the block kit, so...
Oh, so for the block kit, that's that done?
Yeah.
So that's hang on, bring that back into shot, Jane, because then you've got that spare.
You've got that spare. Apart from the fact that you've used all of your background fabric, which is our white in this block, which is reorderable by the 1/2 metre, you would probably have enough to make another block, maybe.
Crikey. So that could be your...
As well as your 4, because you're making 4 blocks with this fabric. So this bundle's slightly bigger than the others. But there's extra quantity. As I say, we have a minimum that we cut, and we don't cut any smaller, really. So, you know, there's bound... Because some of them you only need like 1 square.
Yeah.
But we'll have to give you a fat 8, because otherwise we'll spend all day cutting squares. That was just a bomb,
flying kitten.
Bomb. He's determined to be in here today with you.
He is, isn't he?
He loves the camera.
He does. Well, he hasn't. He's just climbed into the cupboard.
Malcolm couldn't be further from the truth.
No, Malcolm is hiding in the kitchen.
It's so funny.
They're
So funny.
They're chalk and cheese, aren't they, these kittens?
So we're cutting 2.5 inch strips. Now, your 1/2 metre in the block, you've got a 1/2 metre piece of fabric for your background, which is your fabric A, which is the white in this one. Now it's width of fabric, so you've got selvage to selvage. Now the others, which are fat 8s and fat 1/4s, obviously have only got 1 selvage on. So in the pattern I tell you to cut 2.5 inch strips and then to cut the strip in half. That is so that you end up with your 2.5 inch strips more or less the same length as your fat 1/4 2.5 inch strip. You're going to put your fabric A and your fabric B, which in this case is the fog, together, and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. We always work with a 1/4 inch seam all the way down on that long length there.
So Karen's worried. She's like, I knew where I was with Seastorm. It just came out of my bank. So will there not be any subscriptions available? Not this time round. They will all be available on the website anytime. So if you're a little bit late to it, coming to it that month, don't worry. You can just pop it, or just, you know, if you see something from the other shows, pop it in with your order and save your postage. You know, and double up on your order, so that there's less postage that way.
Yeah.
So there's always a way around all of these things. Another reason is the software that we use for our subscriptions needs updating, and if we put another live subscription on it, it might go kaboom. So
yeah, because we've still got the case and the
we've still got other subscriptions running, but we can't update it until everything ends. And otherwise, if we keep adding subscriptions onto it, it's all these things. It's really super boring for everybody else to know about, but it's what goes on behind. And we've always been honest and transparent with you.
Yes, I mean, we're a new business and you've been with us from the beginning, and we're all learning together, which I think is lovely. But sometimes the technology gets a bit with it, because we're growing and it's wonderful. But as we grow, we need different things, don't we?
We need different technology.
And in the background,
that
you, as our viewers, customers, don't need to worry about, but we do.
Yeah. It's the boring bit.
It's
the bit that we give to Josh and go, Josh, this is technology. Please make it work.
Josh,
please make it work. But yeah, so that's another reason why. And as soon as the end of our subscriptions finish at the end of the year, that can all be updated. And then yes, for every single thing that we do going forward, we can offer a subscription in addition to just having it as pay as you go monthly
Yeah.
or buying in one whole thing. So we'll get there. Hopefully that answers your questions, Karen. She's like, I'm sorry to ask so many questions. It's not a problem. It's
No,
not
and
a problem.
again, you know, this is a different way of doing it. It may work, it may not. We might change it for next time. I've got an idea for next year's block of the month, which will run through the whole year, and we may do it a different way again, because we'll learn from this one, and we've learned from the last one.
We always try to be reactive, don't we? There's no point in
yeah.
doing the same thing if
No.
there's a better way to do it. So we try, and if this doesn't work, we'll try something else. Or it might be that you absolutely love it and we go, well, this is how we do it.
Yeah, this is
We
how it
also
works.
want to get to the stage where next month's block is available early to you as
Yes.
well. So that for those of you that want to sew along, you can get it in advance.
Yeah, we're gonna start cutting them earlier, get them out there. The pattern, as I say, the pattern's written. It's just being pattern tested now, so we're a couple of months in front. So we should be able to now get the next block sort of like a couple of weeks beforehand, possibly. So you're going to do this strip with your B and your A fabric. I want the seam to sit underneath the B fabric, so I've pressed it with the B fabric on the top and then just flip that back and pressed it on top again. You're going to need to do it with your G, which is the dark, and your, let me just think about this. Yeah, this is the dark, this is the medium dark, and this is the dark. So, yeah, I'm confident that I'm using the right colours here. Just have to think about it for a minute.
Well, bless you, you've done 5 different colourways to then sit and go, what?
I have got it written down as I thought it, but as I say, you know, you may want, there's a couple of them that you might want to change around if you don't feel that they are the way you want them to be. So we're going to trim one end of this strip, just to trim it off, to square it off, and I'm lining up the seam line with the horizontal line on my ruler rather than the edge, because you know, when you press it, for the best will in the world, it goes a bit wobbly. So your seam line is the straightest line in that unit. For the 4 blocks, you're going to need to cut 12 of these, but I'm just going to cut 3 because I'm just going to make 1 block. So it's all written in the pattern, so you can follow it along. 2.5 inch units. So just subcut that along, lining the horizontal line on that 2.5 with that seam line.
So Valerie has said, loving the block of the month, but I wonder, is there some way of offering alternative colours to the cream or white backgrounds, as she's not a fan of white? Or let us know the yardage so that we can order an alternative.
For
Valerie,
the full
if you
kits,
want to buy the full kit, then we can always swap a different colour out for you. Just email us.
Metre. It's a metre of the background fabric in the full kit. It's the 1/2 metre piece in the blocks. I'm sure, you know, through email we can sort something out because we're very good.
We will
always try and
endeavour
help
to
as we can.
Yeah, if there's maybe if you go for the blue, we can pop you in like a really, really pale blue or something, so that it's not just a white. But let us know what you were thinking, and I'm sure that we can sort something out. First month is always,
yeah, it's full of
settling in, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
all those questions. It's like the first day at school when you're not quite sure of your orientation.
So from each of these blue colours now, the teal colours, I'm going to just cut 1 2.5 inch unit. For your full block, you'll need to cut 4 for the 4 blocks. But I just need 1 at the moment, so I'm just going to cut 1. And I'm just straightening up the end, so I've got a nice line to line my ruler up with, turning that around. And of course, if you've got the Stripology ruler, this will make life so much quicker. But as I'm only doing 1 at a time, I thought, well, I'll just do it with the ordinary ruler. But
Do you want the Stripology? It's just here. Right
I think
in front
just
of you there.
because, you know, I'm nearly done now, and as I say, I'm just doing 1 at a time, so it doesn't really, not that you can't do 1 with your Stripology, but I think it comes into its own when you've got to do multiples, doesn't it, the Stripology? So you would cut 4 of each for your 4 blocks, but I'm only going to make 1. So you've got 3 units with your fabric B, and then you've got 3 with the, sorry about this, E, F and G. I'm just getting my letters muddled up. I just need to
Letters,
suddenly
words.
Can't think of numbers and out the alphabet works. Oh, excuse me. So we're going to put one of the AB units with the EA unit, and we're placing them right sides together. And because we pressed that seam underneath the darker fabric, those seams will now nestle together. We can go close up on that, Natasha.
Yes, 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 yes.
They nestle together, get it in the right place. So one seam goes one way and one goes the other way. So when you're sewing, they sort of like lock together. So we're going to just seam that with 1/4 inch down the one side. And you can of course chain piece this at this stage. You can chain piece it, because I'm going to do exactly the same with the F and A and the B and A.
I'm just giggling to myself. Yesterday after we finished the show, I took the kids to the park, because although we had been to the joy that was Legoland with queues an hour long for rides.
Oh gosh, I can imagine.
Yeah. We only did like 2 rides and then just went and did everything that you didn't have to queue for.
Yeah.
So I took them to, there's a lovely little fairground in St Nick's Park in Warwick.
Oh, lovely.
It's and you know, there's like a maximum of like a 5-minute wait.
Yeah.
And Emily is big enough to go on pretty much all the rides. There are only 2 that she can't fit on.
Oh.
So I took them after the show yesterday, but of course I've had so many messages saying happy birthday, Emily, because John Conwalk went, well, of course she's gone for her birthday, because every day is Emily's birthday.
Yes.
She's had so many birthdays now.
I know.
She's looking great for about 106,
Yeah.
isn't she?
Well, this is it. Because when you're 2, every day is your birthday.
She demands it
Yeah.
daily. Freddie made her a crown this morning
Oh, it
for,
was beautiful as
for
well.
today's birthday.
Yeah. He's so thoughtful with her, isn't he?
Mm.
Yeah, he's lovely.
Yes, Elizabeth, it is the birthday fairground. It's the one that she looks at and says, that's my birthday party.
Bless her.
We're just like, oh.
But she never tires of it, does she?
Nope.
Never.
She's onto a good thing, why would you?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm going to do the twiddle.
Oh,
I'm
we
going
do
to
love the
unpick
twiddle.
let's go close up on this.
Oh, go on then. Have full range of cameras, we'll use
Yay.
them, right?
I'm going to unpick the 2 stitches, 2 stitches up to that seam on both sides. And then when you open it out, when you turn it over, you can press 1 seam up and 1 seam down, like so. And that just reduces the bulk in the middle. So if you were going to quilt across the diagonal of your fabric, when you come to quilting, you've got less fabric in the middle there. It just lies flatter. It just makes it easier to work with, really. So I'll just unpick these ones.
So a question from Joanna. She said, last week Jay mentioned that if you have a 1/4 inch foot, it wouldn't have worked with last week's quilt.
Yeah. That's a 1/4 inch
Which
foot
with the edge
on.
It's not a 1/4 inch foot. It was the 1/4 inch with the foot
Yeah.
Just
If
to
I-
be really clear, she said my machine is old and I can't alter the needle position.
If I just show
but
you,
do you
on-
have a 1/4 inch foot? Will it make the blocks the wrong side? No, Joanna, that's exactly what you need to use. I think there's been a little bit of confusion because this was the foot that we took off.
I don't know
because
if you can
it's got an
see
edge
that.
on
It's
it,
got a little
like a-
edge there, which is the 1/4 inch, which is great if you're using the seam. Like if I was doing the edges here, that just runs along the edge of the fabric. So you've got
Yeah, that's how I
guide.
can stitch my 1/4 inch
Yeah, it's
seam
great.
so fast.
It's brilliant for bag making and anything where you've got a
But-
straight seam, edge to edge fabric.
As soon as you go across fabric,
We're
obviously
going to do
that
some
will
half square
catch.
triangles. And now if I try to do that, it's not working because it will catch, as I get to here, it will catch the fabric and it drags it. That was what I was meaning about
Yeah.
that sort of 1/4 inch foot. Because you get 1/4 inch feet without the guide on.
And that's what you've got in the machine today.
And that's what I've got on the machine at the moment. So Yeah, I'm sorry if I caused confusion to people, but that was the 1/4 inch foot I was meaning.
So, Joanne, basically, you're absolutely fine.
You'll be fine. Yeah. Don't panic.
You're
Mr.
absolutely
Mannering.
fine. It's sharing machines with other people. Like, I always put the edge on because generally, if I'm bag making or whatever, I want to make sure that I use it as a buffer
Yeah.
to make sure that my 1/4 inches
And it's
are
perfect
correct.
for that. Yeah, definitely. But if we do the half square triangles or more, we don't get, it makes life difficult. It's not that you can't use it, but it will rook your fabric up if you're not careful.
Yeah, you see, I didn't use it yesterday because of sewing across the fabric. Margaret loves the stitchy witchy twiddle.
Yeah.
I mean, who
We
doesn't
love
love
a
a
little
stitchy
twiddle,
witchy
don't
twiddle,
we?
right?
We love the little twiddle. So there, you've got four patch blocks going from dark.
You would if I'd got the right camera angle.
Sorry.
There you go.
Going from dark through to lighter, but that's your dark, medium dark, and that's your dark.
Nice.
No, that's your dark light. It's going to get so confusing. That's your dark light, that's your dark, and that's your dark. It's like that poem, the dark wood and the dark night.
I don't know. I blame the pattern writer myself.
Yes, obviously. Right, so we're going to make the half square triangles now. You're going to have 4 7/8 inch squares because when we do half square triangles, to take into account the seam allowance, we want the bigger ones to be finished at 4. You always add 7/8 of an inch onto your finished size. So if you want it 4, we're cutting at 4 7/8. These ones are finished at 2, so we're going to cut those at 2 7/8 inch squares. That's how that works.
Fabulous.
And we're going to mark the diagonal line from corner to corner on the background fabric square. I always start in the middle and work outwards just to prevent any drag. I'm using a friction pen. I'm fine with using a friction pen on my fabric because I'm cutting on this line. Always do a little bit of patch testing on your fabric if you're going to use a friction pen because they're not designed for fabric, and there is a chemical in it and it may take out the colour of your fabric or leave a white line, but as I'm cutting on the line I don't worry about it. I wouldn't use it for marking my quilt lines.
Do you know, I nearly did with my Tilda quilt over the weekend because it irons away, and then I remember that story about that lady that sent that posted her quilt overseas, and it went by air to one of the big festivals, and of course when it gets cold it reactivates the ink, so all of her markings came out, reappeared. That's Jane, I can't speak either today. What's the matter with us?
It's the sunshine, we just want to be outside.
Oh yeah, there's that. Is it even Wednesday if there isn't a stitchy witchy twiddle? Margaret, I'm going to say no.
No?
I'm going to say absolutely not.
No. So we're sewing 1/4 inch now either side of that marked line. And this is, as I say, if you've got a 1/4 inch foot that's got the guide on, it does make it difficult. So you might want to mark the line and sew on the marked line.
Lo thinks that we should all make a quilt whilst drunk and see whose is the best. She thinks that you will still win, hands down.
She hasn't seen me drunk.
Well, I mean, there's that. There is that. I can't do that now. Not and get up and have kids and all of that.
No.
Like, it just doesn't happen.
No.
There's just no chance.
So we've gone 1/4 inch either side of that marked line. We're going to now cut on that marked line, so cutting the squares in half along the diagonal.
Oh, I will get the right one in a minute. Honestly, it's messing around today. There we go.
There we are. So just following that line. So you end up with those. And again, I'm going to press it so that the fabric goes underneath the darker fabric, the patterned fabric. So I've got the fabric that I want the seam to go over on the top.
Right.
Press it, set the seam, and then just lift it And because we're working on a bias, we are literally just pressing that. We're not ironing it because we don't want to stretch the fabric. We're just pressing the seam down.
Jane, I have a little confession to make.
Yeah.
You know, that's the steam iron.
Yes, I took the steam off.
Yeah. You know what's in the steam iron?
Is it best press?
I was just seeing if I could just,
if it worked.
But what I would say is it's great to start off with, but just clear the things out sideways, clear the little jets out sideways, not onto fabric.
It will gunk you up.
Yeah. I'm not going to do it again.
No, it's not recommended.
It was just on a whim, just to see what would happen.
It makes your iron smell lovely.
It does. And
it will singe. And so the next time you come to use your iron, it squirts out a nice browny colour onto your fabric if you're not careful.
But that's why you out to the side. But it was just a little, let me see what I can do. Does that work? Karen's really excited about the block of the month. She said, yeah, so excited that words are clearly failing us over here. She can't wait to make it.
Oh, lovely. So we're going to do the same with the 2 7/8 inch squares, right sides together, and 1/4 inch either side of the line. Again, you will have 4 of these for each block, so 16 altogether. As I say, I've already made one. I just wanted to go over the key elements of the block really and get one block put together for you to show you how it's done, because I think it could get a bit monotonous, me just sewing either side of 16 squares doing together.
Poor Joanna. She's had to live with the horrible realisation that so any mistakes on my blocks is just down to me on the machine. Yeah. Soz about that.
Yeah, sorry.
Basically, yes, is what we're saying.
So we're cutting these in half again across the diagonal along that marked line that we made to create, in this case we're creating 4 half square triangles. You will need 8 for each block. So 32 altogether. We'll say 32 quietly because that sounds like a lot.
I'm just laughing because when Susan heard the story about the quilt and how the pen markings come back when the quilt got cold, she drew on a scrap of fabric and spent a few hours putting it in and out of the freezer, ironing it to get rid of the markings and freezing it again. Well, you have to try these things, don't you?
Yes, you do.
Apparently you do.
You do. Friction, I think they're Pilot pens, aren't they, Friction? Is it Pilot? I'm not sure who the brand is, but whoever the maker is of Friction pens, they're very clear on their site that they are not fabric markers. I think, somebody may have tried to claim something from them because of problems they'd had with their quilt. They're great markers, they're great fabric markers, and I love using mine, and I love the fact it irons away. But I always just test it on a piece of fabric first. I have used it to mark the top of my quilts before now, and it's been fine. But I'm not making competition quilts.
No, you don't have time for that, Jane.
And if it does leave a white mark, then I don't use it. I'll use a different marker.
Lo says that the most fun with Friction pens is to write things on the back of Jeff's t-shirts and then let them go out in the cold. Do you know, sometimes I feel sorry for Jeff.
Yeah, me. Right, so we're going to make the pinwheel block now with these half square triangles. So we're placing them right sides together with the pattern fabric on top of the background fabric. So you've got them either side. And again, because we've pressed the seams to one side, they'll nestle together, and we're seaming down one edge. Whichever edge you seam down, just make sure you do it on the same edge on all of them, because you can get your pinwheel going different ways depending on which side you sew it down. And I was looking at mine after I'd made it, and I realised that I got the square next to the pinwheel and it looked like it was part of it. I thought, I should have thought about I should have made one pinwheel twirl one way and one twirl the other. And I hadn't. I'd made them all twirl the same way.
Well, I like that though.
But it's, it's another thing to think about if you don't actually like on the big quilt. Are we on the main picture?
Yeah.
on this one, you can see that square is against the triangle. If I'd have turned it the other way, I could have had the pink there. So you might want to think about that. You would just have to sew down opposite sides to make that happen.
Well, Susan is very excited because she's bitten the bullet and ordered the full kit.
Woohoo.
She says, this will be my first quilt I've ever made.
Oh,
Watch
how
this
exciting.
space. And you get free scissors.
Yeah, what's not to love?
Free scissors. I wanted to pop those in as a thank you to anyone that is, you know, clearly committing to the quilt.
Yeah, that's lovely because it's
and we
it's a lovely
always
thing to
try
do.
and we always try and reward loyalty. It never feels right to only reward new customers.
Yes.
I want to look after everyone that has supported us and grown
Yeah.
us all the way through. Like you are my main priority. It's nice to have new people, of course it is. Absolutely.
We love our new customers because
But-
it's part of being a growing business. But we're also very grateful to the people that have been there from the beginning.
Absolutely, that loyalty, we value it so much.
Okay, so if we can go on
Yeah.
you're going to have 2 pieces now that look like that. You're going to turn one around. And again, because I've pressed the seam towards the darker fabric, when you place these right sides together, so again you want the pattern fabric on top of or underneath the white fabric, whichever way round you do it, these seams will nestle together, they'll lock in. Now this time when we're sewing our seam, we've got like if we go close up, I don't think we can get it
we
overhead.
could do that. It's ready for you. There you go.
We've got like an X marks the spot. I should have used a darker thread, I suppose, really. On here, where that seam line there comes and where the seam joins together, sort of like an X marks the spot. And really, when you're sewing your seam, you want it just a little bit above there to get your pinwheel in. And if you want to, you could just take one of your pins and pop it through there on that side and just take it through on the other side as well, just to make sure, because you might find that one square is slightly higher. You can see that on mine. It's just a thread or 2 higher, and that way you'll get a nice crisp, you know, your points meeting nicely in the middle. But I like that X marks the spot type of, it's something to guide yourself towards.
Absolutely. Myra says, I've just got those pens that fade away and the ones that use the rubber end. Are they okay or do I still need to test? Myra, as good practice,
Yeah, always test it.
always test, and every manufacturer will tell you to test it because it might be that there's something in that fabric. There are so many different fabrics out there.
Yeah.
It might be that there's something in that fabric that just reacts with that pen differently. So I would always test. The only ones that you can pretty much guarantee are not going to cause a problem are the water pens.
Yeah, because you're spritzing those out at the time.
You know, and they have a nib that just puts water onto your fabric.
Yeah.
Or the Hera markers. They're
Yeah.
about the only
Just
thing
put a
because they're not.
crease, yeah.
That puts a crease in and sort of makes a shiny mark on your fabric.
Yeah.
That's the only one. Jane, what
I've
have you got
done
to
the
show us?
twiddle
Are
here.
you going
so
close up?
I've done. I can do.
Yeah.
I have just unpicked that part of the seam there up to that seam on both sides, not that diagonal one. Not that that matters if you do, but just those couple of stitches. There might be 1, there might be 2. Sometimes there's not any. Just again, and then when we press it, because you've got quite a lot of fabric there, and you might want to just trim the ears off as well when you come to press it. So again, you can twiddle that backwards like you do with the 4 patch, and you get a really cute little pinwheel in the middle. I'll show you. Let me go up to close up.
Oh wow, look at that.
And that little cute little pinwheel in the middle.
Yes.
That's really sweet. But you won't.
And you're never going to see it.
No, nobody will ever see that, but you know it's there. But again, because you have got quite a lot of bulk in the middle there, so that will just help that to lie flatter, and it's quite nice to do. But you may, you know, trim your ears off on your triangles before you put them together, because that will reduce the bulk as well of fabric in the middle. So for your block, this is 1 block, you've got 2 pinwheels, 4 half square triangles and 3 4 patch blocks. And you are going to place them Now I went from dark to light, but I start with my B fabric in the bottom corner or the top corner, whichever way you want to do it. If I turn this around, you can see it works from the top down. So fabric B and then the dark, fabric B and then the dark, fabric B and then the light dark. It's always so that it starts with the fabric B, just because when you look at the main quilt,
Oh yeah, wait, hang on.
sorry, I keep going backwards and forwards.
No,
Keeping
it's okay.
you on your toes today. You can't read messages and look at the cameras. We've got fabric B here purely because I didn't want to have the dark fabric against that next dark. So it sort of goes down in steps. That was the thinking behind it.
Nice.
But it's your quilt. If you want it the other way, you go for it. You know, I'm never one to say, well, you must do it exactly the way I've written my pattern. If you can see a different way of doing it and you think, well, actually, I might like to make this, you go for it. So we then put in the half square triangles in. And these are going one in the middle and the top and the bottom, but you need the triangles facing in the opposite direction. And then either side of the middle 4 patch, and again facing in the opposite direction, because we're aiming to get this line going through diagonally.
No, it's nice. It gives it lovely movement, actually.
I made one earlier this morning, and I put that block round that way.
Oh!
And I ended up with a different pattern.
Oh!
And actually, if you turned that one round,
That's
you
quite
get a
nice too.
star. That's a friendship star.
Yeah.
So this is what I say. It's your quilt, your block. If you want to change the pattern around, you won't get the same effect as that. But why
I love the way
that
that rose in the centre seems to be sort of shooting off.
Yes, it's out.
Yeah, it's got great movement, hasn't
Yeah.
it? And now you see Yvonne says, going to order for my first quilt. Looking forward to starting. I'm a beginner, but going to have a go. Really well explained. Thank you. Yvonne, this is what it's aimed for. This is...
We don't want to make it over facing. We're working on technique and, you know, building up our technique skills, really.
Yeah.
This is what this is about. And moving up a little bit from just squares and triangles, just a few little extra bits that
Little
we do.
snippets.
But I've always said that patchwork is a little bit like music. Music's only got something like 7 notes. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you've got flats and
Yeah, it's an
sharps
eight,
and all.
8 to 8 to an
Yeah.
octave, isn't it? Yeah.
Patchwork is made up of squares, triangles of different types, really.
odd
Rectangles and the odd curve. But generally speaking,
Yeah.
that's what you're working
Yeah.
with. And it's just a variety of those in different shapes and sizes that create different blocks. And that's
And different
fascinating.
illusions.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all
And
it
it's
is.
fascinating.
Janine, it's 50 by 50 inches, not centimetres.
Yeah, approximately.
Approximately. She says, I was a bit late. I missed the start. Can you say what measurements it is?
Yeah,
50 by 50.
50
and,
by 50.
But then you
It's
see,
a nice
you could-
throw size, but you
Yeah.
could make it bigger if you wanted to. If you wanted to make more blocks, you could add it on to the top and the bottom. You could add more borders around it to make it bigger. You can do all sorts of things to it. As I always say, it's your quilt. You can do what you like with it at the end of the day. If you only want to make one block and make it into a cushion, that's fine. You know, you've got loads of fabric for your stash then. So we're going to join these now together, and as always with a 9 patch, we join the three units together in rows, and then we join the rows together. So it's just, what I like to do is I like to have the block placed out in front of me, and then I sew it and I put it back, so that I keep it in the right order and I don't get
I'm with you.
myself in a muddle.
I'm with you.
Because it's very easy to turn it round as you get to the sewing machine and sew it to the wrong side.
It is amazing how that happens. It's just one of those...
A little sewing machine gremlin that does it. And I press the seam to the one that's got the least seams on, so I'm pressing it to the half square triangle here, just because there's least resistance there.
It's finding what's right for the project, isn't it? I
Yes.
really ummed and ahed when I was doing my project the other day, and I was desperate to keep that square in the middle free of being able to see the seams
Yes.
because it was so light.
Yeah, and that's and
But that's when it becomes a design choice.
yeah. And so again, I'm going to press that to the half square triangle side. And this is something else that I like to do when I'm doing a 9 patch, is I like to have the rows, the seams facing opposite ways. So on this row at the top, the seams are going to face in towards the middle, and on this row they're going to face out, and then on the bottom one they'll face into the middle again. And again, that's another thing that just helps you line up things. You've got your locking of seams, and that helps with your points meeting as well.
And if this is your first quilt, don't worry if none of that makes any sense, or if it doesn't happen to you first time.
No.
It's also okay.
If you really look closely at the quilt behind us, there's many a point that doesn't match, or there's a bit of a triangle point that's disappeared. I don't worry about it, because in the grand scheme of things, you can't see it. And once it's quilted, it sometimes doesn't just, you know, you can bring the point back sometimes when you're quilting. It'll reappear if it's only just a scant piece. So, you know, I'm not entering competitions with my quilts. I do my quilts to be thrown on the bed, thrown in the garden, to sit on while you have a picnic, put over your knee when you're watching a film, whatever. That's
soaking up leaks when your pipes go.
Yeah. Yeah, when you get a flood and they soak up the water on the chair.
That was literally what happened to yours the other day.
Yes.
Jane. She's like, I'm sorry I'm a bit late, but I've got this strange damp patch.
Everything overflowed, and it took us 3 days to work out where the water was coming from. Every morning I come down to this pond of water in the kitchen, and I was like, well, it's not Josh overflowing the bath. We've worked that one out.
Poor chappie.
Yeah, we had a man come out and reseal our bath for us.
Oh, and it wasn't that?
And it wasn't that.
Oh, no.
But, yeah, it turned out it was an overpipe that was overflowing at 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was just a case of a pipe had come out of a tube, and all we needed to do was stick the tube back in. But it took us 3 days to work that out.
So Joanna, we've got a lovely blue batik that's coming as an extra wide backing for the block of the month from last month, and the others are, well, they're still outstanding. If you wanted the Moda Grunge ones, the blue Moda Grunge, they're still outstanding.
Yeah.
I've got so many orders outstanding with suppliers. It's just crazy. It is just crazy, and there's
we've
nothing
got this
we can do
phrase
about
now.
it.
It's on its way.
Oh yeah. And then they all come at once. It's
Yes,
like a bus.
and you're just like,
But Joanna, I will every time I will say when they come, and because it should be a lot of them coming next time, we will do a newsletter for that. Just always open newsletters, and also because we're going to start putting out a newsletter on a Friday as well. We've got some super duper deals going in there.
it's exciting things coming up.
Yeah, so just look out for those, because they won't be deals that you will see on shows and stuff like that. They'll be just for those of you that open your mail.
And you can see there on that one, I was just about to put it like that, which would have been a different design completely, and would have been really frustrating. So just make sure that you've put it back
Jane,
down each time.
A question. I need a bigger quilt,
right?
Says Lorraine. So I was thinking of doing Jane's full quilt in the middle, then extending it with extra blocks, and then border with wide borders. When I work out how many extra blocks I need of each block, would you be able to tell me how much of each fabric I need, please?
Yes, when you've worked it out. You've got to remember that's 50 by 50, so you might want to add another border around it to make it, if you put a 5-inch border around it before you stop to put your blocks in, because if you're making 12-inch blocks, you will then get an equal number of blocks, because that divides by 12.
Oh yeah, so you'll add
50 doesn't, 12s don't go into 50.
Yeah.
So if you put a 5-inch border all around it, that would make it 60, and then you'd be able to get 5 blocks across the top and the bottom, and 7 either side.
Nice. Oh, she's clever. Oh, she's clever, Lorraine. That's why we keep her. Lorraine says, no rush as long as I haven't missed them. No, you haven't, don't worry. Yeah, Alison says, love the middle block. This might be an orphan block.
Yeah.
You see, this is it. And so then, make it into a bag, make it into a cushion, all of these things. It was a term that I hadn't heard until I started working with Jane, and I was writing up the instructions for the block keeper, and Jane's like, well, yes, lots of people have orphan blocks. And I'm like, a what? A what now?
Yeah,
I feel quite sorry for them.
I know, it's a shame, isn't it? But you'll go to a workshop and you'll learn a new block, and sometimes you don't actually want to then make it again. You might not. Sometimes you make a block and you're like, yeah, I like this block, but actually no, I don't want to make 12 of them because I don't want to do all of that again.
Or
It sounds terrible, but you do it. Everybody does it. They've made blocks and it's like, yeah, like it, but do I really want to make loads of them for a quilt?
I don't love it.
No, actually.
Yeah.
So we've got the 2 rows joined together there, and then we'll add that final row on.
Yeah, Gemma had another version of that. It was less polite. Ah, Lorraine says, thank you. Thank you so much. You're all angels. Wow.
Slippy crown, halos.
It looks, what I hadn't realised is that centre block, and I'll just switch so that, oh no, wrong one. Come back. It looks very, War of the Roses.
Yes, does a little bit, doesn't it? It
And
looks
yet-
like an English rose.
From close up, I don't get that.
No.
And it's only when you step away and go, oh
And
yes.
you've got this part here, this bit here, which I think looks a little bit like a heart shape, but that actually isn't part of the centre block.
Is it not?
No.
But it looks like it.
It's the other blocks. It's a square in the other blocks that
Oh, well,
brings
how
it
have
together.
you done that? Because it does look like it's framed. It looks like that whole centrepiece is framed, but
Yeah.
that would be from the other blocks.
Yeah.
You're so clever.
So there you are. That's your block.
4 times.
And you'll make 4 of those.
Fabulous.
Here's some we made earlier. So they go into each of your square, into your corners. But you might want to just make 4 blocks, and you could spin 2 of them around. If we spin that one around. And you have got
Oh, lovely.
a
Oh,
little
look at
mini
that.
quilt going on there.
Oh, my goodness.
So this is what we say. You might just want to make this block.
yeah.
You might not want to make the full quilt. You've got enough fabric in the block 1s to make 4. So you could make this.
You could make that, and then you've got enough to do your binding and
What
whatnot.
happens if you put all 4 pinwheels into the middle?
Oh, something exciting, I have no doubt. Ooh, nice. But what it means is that you can come back, and this is another reason why we've done the bundle, so that you can come back.
Yeah.
You might decide that actually
You might want to
do that.
make your quilt in the red, but actually you'd like to have a go at this in the purple.
You might.
So you can buy your full kit in the reds, or your block today in the red, but you could also buy a purple one.
Or
a
you might have
zesty one.
bought the whole shebang.
Yeah.
And then decide that actually you want to make a bag to keep it in,
Yeah.
and do an orphan block bag like we did yesterday.
Yeah.
Although I never actually made the bag, but it's
You see,
super
I can
easy.
turn that block around
You?
with the pinwheel in, and then I don't get the 2 colours together here. I can turn
Oh, yeah.
one of them around one way, so you get the different colour here and here.
Lo says you make it look so easy, and it's not. Maybe we need to hypnotise you, Lo, to make you realise that you too can quilt.
Yes, you can.
It'll be fine.
It's straightforward.
Oh, Jane, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
So, just to reiterate, we have got 5 different colourways. They are in front of Jane here, so you do need to choose one. Well, or not, or two,
Choose all
or
of them.
two, or
Have them
whatever. You can either buy the entire kit and get a free pair of scissors as a, a thank you for making that investment, or you can buy it block by block, month by month. The instructions are always separate, so it might be that you want to make it out of your own stash, and that's why we always keep the instructions separate for those of you that want to do that.
A bundle of fabric that you've been dying to do something with, and now you've thought, actually, this would work with this quilt.
In which case, you go for it. Or maybe you just want to do this one block and do it as a cushion or a mini quilt, as Jane showed. We don't know. We don't know what you want to do.
What you do with it, because we're happy to share the process with you.
Absolutely. So pick one that suits you. If you, like I say, if you're going for the whole quilt, you'll get a free pair of scissors while stocks last on those. And yeah, Jane, thank you so much. What a lovely start.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Fabulous. Thank you very much. Right, we are back on Monday. Gemma, what am I doing on Monday? I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
Is it a sewing bee thing that you're doing on Monday?
Yes, it is some sort of sewing bee based thing.
Yes. Some sewing machine accessories, etc.
Yes,
sewing
I
room
am.
accessories.
And then behind you is the bag that we're doing on the Tuesday.
Look at that.
Because the hardware has finally come in. We've had to source the hardware especially for this bag.
I love
we
this
have
bag.
wanted to do this bag, Jane, ever since we saw it, didn't we? And
Yeah.
it's the saddle bag.
Look at these really hard buckles that are just actually poppers.
Perfect.
I love this bag. It's got a pocket in it as well, which is
Yeah.
always useful.
Yeah.
It's a nice roomy bag.
Yeah, it's perfect.
We've
It's
all
just
been
perfect.
hearting this bag very much, and there's a pocket on the back as well. This would be a lovely bag to take to a quilt show with you, because it's over there.
It's over
You've
there.
got a pocket there.
Yeah.
To stuff programs and things in.
And your tickets and whatnot, yeah.
Yeah, and then nice roomy bag to put bits in.
Or just anywhere.
And it just looks really nice.
Woman about town.
Just
Yeah, I mean, you modelled it so well, Jane. Come back. Come back. So
It is,
that's
it's
what we're
useful.
doing next week. And what are you doing next week, Jane?
Next week I've got a pattern in my head, and I've got the fabric half cut out.
Is it?
It's the linen-y ones from the Macawa, with the lovely big flowers on.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. Love, heart that very much. Oh, you're in for a treat next week.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
Some lovely things going on.
Make sure you grab your Half Meter Heavens. They go live at midnight tonight. Again, we're limited on quite a lot of them. They are end of stock. And look out for your email on
Can't
Friday.
even hang anything up without pulling
No,
the
I
whole
know.
set down.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, Friday, look out for your email, because you're going to have lots of goodies to read about in there.
Lovely.
And yeah, we've got some little treats for you this week in there.
Lovely.
Which you won't see on telly.
You're on the craft store tomorrow.
Yes. Nearly finished all my samples.
There's some exciting things coming up. I've seen them. They're lovely.
Yes. Yes. So there we go, peeps. That's it. Thank you very much. Sorry about the lack of camera. Blame Morty at the beginning. Naughty Morty, living up to his name. And he was swinging off it earlier. Take care. Lots of love. See you very soon. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Bye.